Urgent. The judge authorizes Begoña Gómez to travel to London but not to Turkey. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Precautionary Measures. We have breaking news because the judge's decision is already in. You already know that Begoña Gómez requested to have her passport returned, or rather, to be allowed to travel to London for one of her daughter's graduation and also to the NATO summit in Turkey together with Pedro Sánchez. So pay attention because we already have a ruling just in. The judge, who is not Peinado because Peinado is on vacation, the substitute judge has just authorized Begoña Gómez to travel to London but not to Turkey, Ankara. Let's share this court decision that we have on medidas cautelares. And before that, I remind you that if you haven't done it yet, remember to subscribe to the Medidas Cautelares channel. We're already on our way to 150,000, which is our goal before we get to. I'll play along. Judge Peinado, and well, that decision had to be made by the one who was in that court, so to speak, on duty, although in reality it's like he's his substitute during the holidays, okay? So this is the decision from the Investigating Court number 41 of Madrid, and it's signed by Magistrate Antonio Viejo Llorente, who is the substitute judge for Judge Peinado. And here, well, what the judge says in his decision is that the legal representative acting on behalf of Begoña Gómez submitted a document on June 29, 2026 in which, after making the arguments she considered appropriate, concluded by requesting authorization from this court to travel abroad, Ankara and London, from July 7 to 10 of this year. It says that by order of June 30th, the previous request was added to the case and was forwarded to the parties involved for a period of 3 days for arguments. The prosecution. And what did they do? Well, you already know. Any surprises? No. Well, he said that Begoña Gómez could travel wherever she wanted. However, the private prosecution opposed the authorizations requested by Begoña Gómez. So, what is the final decision? Well, the investigating judge says, in the legal grounds of this decision, the investigating judge ordered in the order to open the oral trial in the current jury trial proceedings regarding the applicant. Thank you. Begoña Gómez, banned from leaving the country without court approval and had her passport withdrawn, with a ban on issuing a new one. While the present proceedings last and the obligation to appear in person before the court or tribunal on the 1st and 15th of each month or the next working day, as well as whenever they are summoned. These are the precautionary measures that Judge Peinado ordered in the ruling to open the oral trial. Personal precautionary measures whose purpose, they say, is to ensure the presence of the person under investigation. To prevent her from traveling during the oral trial for the mentioned crimes, which carry prison sentences. Measures that are requested for the reasons stated in the application on which the decision is made. Its temporary lifting as it falls within the applicant's plans. To accompany her husband to the 36th NATO summit, which will be held on July 7 and 8 in Ankara, Turkey, as well as to be able to go to her daughter's graduation ceremony in the city of London, in the United Kingdom, returning to Spain on July 10. This last request should be granted on the one hand due to the good relationship of judicial cooperation between Spain and the United Kingdom even after Brexit, as well as because of the nature of the event she intends to attend. In other words, what the judge is saying is that he authorizes Begoña Gómez to travel to London because even though the United Kingdom is no longer part of the European Union after Brexit, there is still police and judicial cooperation with Spain. Therefore, if she tried to escape or stay there, Begoña Gómez could be handed over at any moment. However, he says that regarding the applicant's attendance at the NATO summit, to which she is invited for reasons of international institutional courtesy without having an active role in the summit, since, as some of the documents submitted by the prosecution have pointed out, Turkey does not belong to the area of freedom, security and justice of the European Union, in which police and judicial cooperation in criminal matters is facilitated by its institutional structure, it is considered appropriate to maintain the precautionary measure whose modification has been requested. And finally, the judge decides in this ruling to partially grant the request submitted by Begoña Gómez, authorizing her to travel to London, United Kingdom between July 8 and 10, for which her passport will be returned to her. Once she returns to Spanish territory, she must deposit her passport at this judicial office on the next working day after her return, July 13th. Make the corresponding entries in SIRA under point 2, denying authorization for travel to Ankara, Turkey. And this is the latest information, a Solomonic decision by the judge who is replacing the head of Madrid's Investigating Court number 41, Juan Carlos Penado. This magistrate has decided that Begoña Gómez will be allowed to travel to London, United Kingdom, to attend one of her daughter's graduation ceremonies. And however, he rejects that Begoña Gómez can travel to Ankara, Turkey, to attend one of the NATO events, one of the conventions, together with Pedro Sánchez. According to the judge who made the decision, the difference is that with the United Kingdom, despite Brexit, it is still maintained, well, a judicial cooperation agreement. And yet, with Turkey, which does not belong to the European Union, it does not have that kind of judicial and police cooperation. And therefore, for that reason, it is denied that Begoña Gómez can go on that trip to Ankara, Turkey, together with her husband, Pedro Sánchez. This is the information we have just learned. It should be noted that Begoña Gómez was supposed to travel tomorrow, so this decision was made at the last minute, and since Judge Penado had already gone on vacation, his substitute judge had to make this decision. I don't know what you think about this information, the one we shared on precautionary measures. That's it for this edition of precautionary measures, and that's why today I am more interested than ever in your opinion. What do you think? Should Begoña Gómez have been completely denied both trips? Do you think it's okay that she can go to London but not to Turkey? Should Begoña Gómez have been allowed to go to both London and Turkey? Please leave me your opinions and all your comments, which, as you know, I care a lot about. Remember that you can still subscribe to Medidas Cautelares to reach the goal of 150,000 subscribers before August. And you can also support us by becoming members like the Chosen for less than €3 a month or the Supreme for less than €6 a month. You already know that you can also make contributions via Bizum at 627-556-370. And we're already preparing what's new for the next season of Medidas Cautelares, which will begin next September. In the meantime, all the latest and breaking judicial information firsthand, with all the documents, all the rulings, all the resolutions, the most reliable sources right here on Medidas Cautelares. As I always say, it's important that everyone gets this information because knowledge is power. See you soon.